Okay, let me ask you something. What if this life, this one right now, was your last one? I mean, no do-overs, no second chances. How would that change things for you, like starting today? Well, we're going to dive into a really fascinating teaching that explores that exact idea, a guide to your final life. I love this quote because it's so true, right? Think about it. You don't go back and reread your first grade textbooks after you've graduated college. Why would you? You learned from them, you built on that knowledge, and then you put them away. They were absolutely crucial, but they were a starting point, not the whole journey. So that brings up a really interesting question. Why do we as people sometimes cling so tightly to ideas and, dependencies that we've totally outgrown? This whole philosophy we're looking at suggests that humanity, all of us, we're kind of at that same graduation point. For thousands of years, we've been learning, looking to outside forces for all the answers. But what happens when it's finally time to put that cosmic textbook away?
All right, so this first section is all about letting go of yesterday. This is the first big step, and it's really about a massive shift in how we see things. It's about this idea of moving from being a cosmic student to becoming a cosmic adult. We have to recognize that our relationship with, the divine, the universe, it's changed, it's evolved.
So check this out. On the one hand, you have the student. That was us, right? We depended on our parents, on our teachers, even on gods to learn and grow. We were basically taking from them. But now we're the adult, and our role is completely different. It's not about taking anymore. It's about living for them, honoring everything we've learned by actually living our own purposeful lives. Clinging to that old way of thinking is like being a 30-year-old asking your mom to still tie your shoes. The best way to say thank you to your teachers is to go out and use what they taught you to do something amazing. Okay, so if we're not supposed to be these dependent students anymore, then what are we? What's our new job description? Well, to get that, we need a whole new definition of God and our place in the universe. So, in this teaching, the big ultimate force isn't some guy with a white beard sitting on a cloud. No, it's called Hananim. And what is that? It's basically the great energy of the universe itself. It's not a personal god you pray to or worship. Think of it more like the fundamental force of nature, the operating system for all of reality. And here's where it gets really interesting. If Hananim is the universe's energy, then what are humans? We're the operators. We're the ones running the show. We're not separate from it at all. It's like we're the individual cells that are responsible for making the whole body work. That means everything we do, our actions, our thoughts, the way we live our lives, that is literally what operates this cosmic energy. We are at the controls. Okay, so if we're the ones at the controls, that means our actions have, pretty huge consequences, right? And according to this teaching, the consequences of this one single life are way more profound and way more long-lasting than you can probably even imagine. Seriously, let this one sink in for a second. The idea here is that your spiritual form in the next dimension gets frozen in whatever state you were in at the end of this life. So it's not about, a scale weighing all your good deeds versus bad deeds from your whole life. No, it's about who you are, what your focus is, and what your mindset is right at the end. That gets locked in, and that defines you for thousands of years to come. Wow. And this teaching breaks it down into 3 really different paths. So first, if you lived your life only for yourself, you become what's called a wandering ghost, just lost and alone, pretty much exactly how you were in life. Okay, now if you lived only for your family, you become an ancestral spirit, and you stay attached to your descendants, worried only about them. But, and this is the big one, if you lived for the public good, for everyone, you become a public deity or god. You actually become a guardian force that helps the wider community. And we are not talking about a short-term thing here. The stakes are just mind-bogglingly high. We're talking 10,000 years, maybe more. The spiritual form you end up with, based on those final actions on Earth, lasts for a very long time. So the choices you make in the final chapter of your life literally echo for what feels like an eternity. So, this brings us to the absolute core of this teaching. This is your final mission. Why does all of this matter so much right now for us? Because it's believed that a certain part of humanity, this generation, has no second chances. This is it.
These people are called the captains, and they're not here by accident, not at all. They've come to Earth with a very specific, you could say epic, task. Their mission is to establish something called Jongbab, which translates to the righteous law for the entire world. And here's the kicker. This is their final incarnation. There is no more reincarnation for them. The ride is over.
And that one distinction just changes everything, doesn't it? If you're living a reincarnating life, there's always a next time. You can mess up and think, I'll figure it out in the next life. It's like having a safety net. But when you're in your final life, there is no safety net. You have to pour every single bit of your energy into this life. Everything. Everything has to be resolved and accomplished right now.
This quote just hits so hard. You must burn your entire soul in this life so that no regrets remain. I mean, that perfectly captures the intensity, right? It's a call to just go all in, to live with such total commitment that when it's all over, there's nothing left. No regrets, no what-ifs, nothing left undone.
Okay, so you've got this massive cosmic destiny to fulfill. How on earth do you even start something that big? Well, the answer is actually pretty surprising, and it's way more down to earth than you might think. It all begins with joy.
So how do you kick off this huge mission to establish righteous law for the whole world? It doesn't start with some grand sacrifice or by carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Nope, it starts with you. Here's the actual path, and it's a 3-step process. Step 1, find your own joy. Simple as that. The teaching is super clear on this. If you're troubled or suffering, you can't really help anyone else. Your own energy has to be clear and bright first. Step 2, live a meaningful and rewarding life based on that joy you found. And step 3, this is the magic part, your positive energy will then just naturally spread. It'll contribute to the world and help other people without you even having to try. It just flows from you. And this final quote really drives it home. If you are not joyful, you cannot help anyone. Your suffering will only be passed on to them. That's the key, right there. Your own energy is contagious. If you're coming from a place of suffering, that's what you're going to pass on, even if you have the best intentions in the world. Real, true help has to come from a place of joy and being whole.
So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Let's just forget about reincarnation for a second. If you knew 100% for sure that this life was your one and only shot, your final life, what meaningful work would you finally begin today? What would you stop putting off and start doing right now?